Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. It may be the middle of the night, but apparently my body wants to be awake. So let's go over a few of the headlines that are going on in Canada right now. But before we do that, I invite you to please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you will always know when I post and go live, and like and share and comment on this video. Now let's get into things right now. So apparently 11 teachers, 11 teachers in one school in Quebec have been suspended due to a toxic climate in a learning environment at the school. Now this is out of Bedford School in Quebec, and the Quebec Education Minister has started auditing a few schools under a specific center, a school center that has a crazy long French name that VoiceOver butchered, and I do not want to try to say because VoiceOver butchered it. So I don't even know what the proper thing is. Anyway, that's besides the point. The important thing is that there are 11 teachers that are treating students incredibly poorly. Now, this even goes to, I'm going to show you guys here, this article goes to physical and psychological violence. These teachers were saying that things like autism weren't a real thing. There was a climate of breaking the students of their disabilities or their learning issues and setting them on the right path. And these audits are going beyond this one school. It's going to 3 other schools covered by this particular education center, 2 elementary schools and a high school. And this school that was first audited was also an elementary school. And unfortunately, all 11 teachers are from North African descent, and I'm not being racist. It says right here, the testimonies it says the testimony provided a portrait of a situation spanning 7 or 8 years and revealed that the quick succession of school directors came and went during that period. So there was no directors, no constant director to rein these people in. But it says in this article that these were North African teachers, and that they were here it is. The report described the group of problematic teachers being of North African descent, some of whom attended a local mosque together. It said that the representative of the mosque met 1 year with the school administration, explaining the importance of having good relations with the Muslims in the neighborhood and with the school. When this was, so this is bad. Like, this makes things look really bad for that community, because of course that makes it look like all North Africans don't think autism is real, and that's not true. Because there were even some North African teachers at the school that were trying to push back. The report even says this, that there were North African teachers that were pushing back against these teachers. So right here it says, however, the report mentions that there were also staff members of North African descent who opposed the way the dominant clan was acting. So this was like a whole clan of teachers, like a whole group of teachers that were trying to impose their own educational dominance over other staff and the students at the school, and would push back if any teachers tried to say, hey, this is wrong. You can't beat kids. You can't, like, this isn't what you can do anymore. And apparently these teachers were just, no, it doesn't matter. And this is huge. And I know a lot of people are going to make jokes, French language school, blame the French, ha ha ha. No, this is, I don't even want to joke about this, because, like, the not following education plans, not following, not focusing on science, not focusing on religion, not focusing on sexual education, just because it's not what you would like to have be taught, like, that's unacceptable. And I don't care if you're a Muslim or a Christian or whatever you are. You don't that if you are going to teach in a public school system, which this was a public school, then you don't, no, that's not okay. You adhere to the standards of the school. You adhere to the standards of the education system where you're teaching. I don't care if you're, like I said, I don't care if you're from North Africa or South America or Australia. You fucking treat the students you're teaching like people. And yes, I get it. Students these days, like kids these days, are little shits. I get it. Okay? But there are also legitimate learning disabilities. There are legitimate issues that need to be addressed in order for kids to get a good education. And good for the education minister of Quebec for auditing these schools and this education center. And good for them for sticking up for the students and the staff that is pushing back on this behavior, because it is important to note that there are staff of the same culture that is pushing back against this, saying, hey, no, you can't do this. I think that's very important to talk about and note. That this is going to get turned by people like Rebel News. I'm going to call them out. It's people like Rebel News, the actual far right. They're going to call this out. Oh, look at how Muslims are treating our student. No, no. This needs to be focused on very carefully, that there were also people of the same religious and cultural designation that are pushing back against this, and that they were also facing reprisal from this group of teachers. So I think it's very important to note that the lack of a constant director at the school, the lack of and I'm willing to bet we're going to find the same thing at the other three schools. The lack of of leadership and direction is probably going to be a big part in this. And now we're going to move on to our other headline. Apparently, BC's election is just insanely tight. We've now got, I think, 100 seats difference between the Conservatives and the NDP over in BC. There's been a manual recount demanded in 2 ridings. We have 45 seats for the Conservatives, 46 for the NDPs, excuse me. And the BC legislature is 93 seats, and they need 47 to hold a minority government. So there are recounts going in two ridings. The candidates have until Tuesday, so tomorrow, to demand a recount of their ballots, and the recounts for these two ridings will also be including the absentee ballots and mail-in ballots. So we won't know what government British Columbia has for another week or so. It's gonna take at least until the 28th for the recounts to be done. So we will not know whether BC has completely flipped around to Conservative or whether it stays NDP. And if NDP gets the minority government, it will need two Green Party backing. It needs two Green Party backers at least to form a minority government. So this is interesting because British Columbia is more definitely a left-leaning province. So for this to switch back to Conservatives the BC Liberal Party completely dissolved and joined the Conservative Party of British Columbia. So for BC to go back to Conservative would be interesting. And either way, it's going to be a minority government. So it looks like the electorate of British Columbia has decided that neither government, whether it be NDP or Conservative, deserves to have a majority government. So that is what has been happening this weekend. I'll be looking at what's going on in the House of Commons on my live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have an appointment at 1, so I won't be doing it at 1. But I do have, we will be looking at what's going on in question period. Has Trudeau swayed anybody with this foreign interference nonsense? We'll see. I don't think so. Pierre Poilievre has made it very clear that he doesn't want to get a security clearance because then he'll be muzzled. And the CSIS Act does say that he wouldn't be able to discuss what he's learned. And Trudeau says, the leaders have several tools to avail themselves of without, divulging what they've been told under classified security briefing. And those are things like barring MPs from running again, which you need to explain why you're doing that, which is then you have to start divulging information, which then you break your clearance. Or you could block them from a cabinet appointment. Again, you're going to have to explain why, which then you're going to be divulging your clearance. So really, Poilievre wouldn't have any options, wouldn't have any tools. So no, he doesn't have, he wouldn't have recourse. His chief of staff, however, does have a clearance. And the chief of staff has reported that they haven't seen anything really with the Conservative, like any Conservative names. Trudeau, if he had the names of the Conservative, if he actually had the names, he would have he would have said it, because it would have been too hot for him not to say it. And technically, what he did in the public inquiry is bring this information into the public. So technically, he already broke his clearance by doing that, if you really want to think about it. Because now the public is like, well, what are these names? What are you talking about, Trudeau? And he's laying the blame at Polyev's feet to make Polyev look like the crazy one who won't get security clearance. Meanwhile, while he was testifying, accidentally on purpose let that slip, and he should be dragged over the coals by the intelligence director. Like, if this is actually classified information, he should have had a meeting with the NSIA and the CSIS director, like, directly after that testimony, and they should have been like, Mr. Prime Minister, what the hell were you thinking? Why did you say that? Now, like, that was the dumbest thing he could have done. So we are going to be looking closely at this over the next little bit. We're going to be watching Question Period quite closely because they are back today. It is the 20th of October. They're back. So we will be watching this closely. So make sure you have the notifications turned on so you know when I go live. And also hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment down below. What do you think of what's going on with the teachers? What do you think of what's going on in BC? Let me know in the comments below what you think of the situation. It's a very delicate situation with like the religious aspect and the cultural aspect, but it was significant enough that this report had to mention it. So, call me what you will. I'm just reporting the facts that I'm reading. I'll put the link in the description of the video below so you can see what I'm saying is true, and you don't have to rake me over the coals for it. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.